Today on the Comic Book Report, we'll be unboxing the 2024 reprint of Spider-Man by David Michelinie and Erik Larsen Omnibus. This was an omnibus reprint I couldn't wait to add to the personal collection. This was a huge gap filler and some issues that I've always wanted to finish reading. I hope you enjoyed today's unboxing. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back everyone, my name is Dominic and like I mentioned, this is the Comic Book Report where we review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. And this is the box I recently got from cheapgraphicnovels.com. I placed an order for this omnibus along with the Moon Knight by Jed MacKay omnibus. Just in case you missed that unboxing video that I dropped on the channel recently, I'll try to link it to this one if you are curious. And another thing, if you are curious, the box did not look like this on the top. I actually tore off the shipping label and took some of the box with it. So rest assured, they did a better job packaging this than it maybe looks like. But anyway, let's go ahead and break into this box. How they shipped my order, looks like we have a ton of folded packing paper and made kind of a tight box-like shape for the two omnibuses, which were wrapped up in what appears to be a kind of grocery bag. And of course, the two omnibus volumes themselves were still in their plastic wrap, sealed, and they didn't receive any damage. It was packed quite well. So let's go ahead and take a quick look again at the books I picked up in this order. Again, the Moon Knight by Jed MacKay Omnibus, and of course today's Spider-Man by David Michelinie and Erik Larsen Omnibus reprint. But let's go ahead and focus on that Spider-Man book for today as I go ahead and take off the plastic wrap and begin stretching out this book, the spine, the pages, things like that. Let me go ahead and talk a little bit about the volume itself. As far as what this omnibus includes, it collects Amazing Spider-Man issue 287, 324, 327, and 329 through 350, along with Spider-Man issue 15, 18, and 21 through 23. Also included in this book is the Amazing Spider-Man, the 1999 series, issues 19 through 21, along with material from Marvel Comics Presents, issues 48 through 50, and Spider-Man, the 1990 series, issues 19 and 20. The comics in this book were primarily written by David Michelinie with art from Erik Larsen. There were a couple other creators, of course, throughout this book, but those were the main headliners for this whole volume. And for those collecting some of these art-centric Michelinie hardcovers, this is a nice one that's sandwiched between the David Michelinie and Todd McFarlane Omnibus and the recently released David Michelinie and Mark Bagley Omnibus Volume 1. Suffice it to say, my Spider-Man Omnibus shelf is quite happy to have this gap filler, and this was a reprint I was so excited Marvel got around to. Looking at the front cover of this dust jacket, I will say this is the standard edition cover for this reprint. For your convenience, I will go ahead and throw up a quick thumbnail for the direct market cover for this reprint in case you want some options. I love this cover as well, but I think for me, I stuck to the standard because I love the yellow. I thought it was so striking, and I have Venom on a handful of omnibuses already. Looking at the spine too, I really like it. We just have the big Spider-Man, along with the creators of course, and a little picture of Spider-Man at the bottom of the spine. I should say as well, the direct market will likely have a different image on the bottom of the spine, but that, coupled with what's on the actual front cover of the dust jacket, should be the only differences between the two. All the other aspects of these omnibuses should be identical. On the back cover of this dust jacket, we have a brief blurb about this collection, along with the thumbnailed covers of all the issues included in this awesome book. At the bottom of the dust jacket, we have things like what it collects in written form, along with the pricing information, things like that, all pretty straightforward for an omnibus back dust jacket. And while we have a moment, and because I don't think I addressed it yet, the paper stock is a nice glossy print paper stock. We have a sewn binding and a total of 888 pages in this one. Now, I do want to go ahead and spend one more moment on the actual exteriors of this book. I'll examine right now that dust jacket one more time. This time I'll also show you the interior flaps of that dust jacket, and I'll go ahead and spread it all out so you can see everything at a glance. I really do like the cover design for this book. Like I said, I do love that shock of yellow on the front cover. Under the dust jacket for this book, what we have actually printed on the hardback book itself, I found to be pretty surprising. We have a field of red with kind of the black inked Spider-Man, and I really liked it. It is kind of a wraparound cover. We don't have anything on the spine. We don't have any text. We just have the kind of flowing Spider-Man imagery, and I think this is really fun. It makes it feel like an art book. I was surprised to see this. I don't know what I expected under this collection, but I think that was a surprise when I first got a look at it. But I do really like this as well. I think it shows the beauty of Erik Larsen's Spider-Man. I think a lot of people buy this collection for that artwork and to fill the gap in the collection. So seeing extra Larsen Spider-Man on the hardback book itself is a real treat. Now a quick look at that sewn binding for everyone to take a look at. I will say my edition so far doesn't look like it has much of an eye. Hopefully if I spread it out and kind of read through it a little bit more, maybe we'll get a little bit of one. So we do have a little bit of gutter loss, but honestly this is at a time where a lot of these issues have a white border of some kind, so we don't have too much lost here, but something to keep an eye on. Overall, I don't really have any complaints with the binding, however. Okay, and making our way into the collection proper, after some black end pages, we have a great title page for this omnibus, the publication information, kind of creator breakdown page, and then we have a 2-page spread, full table of contents that's page numbered. I love to see this, especially with a book that has issues from, I think, the 80s and early 90s. It's great to see something approaching that era that still has page numbers like this. I think it's a real treat and a great way to revisit this collection and kind of just go straight to your favorite parts. After that, we go straight into the first issue in this book. What I love, though, is above the cover, we have a little bit of a paragraph that kind of gives you context and gets you right into what happened preceding this issue. We start off right when Erik Larsen is on art, and we jump around through the rest of his tenure on the Spider-Man books. And I really think this is a fun approach. Like I said, this is an era where we do kind of complete a gap between the Todd McFarlane era and the Mark Bagley era, but this also showcases just Erik Larsen's Spider-Man. Honestly, that is a huge draw for this book in general. Not that I don't love the writing from David Michelinie. I am a big fan. I actually love everything I've read from Michelinie's run so far whenever I've read him do Spider-Man. However, the artists he was paired with for a lot of his tenure at Spider-Man just frankly blow my mind. Todd McFarlane, Erik Larsen, Mark Bagley, these are just some of my 90s favorites, and I'm just blown away by all of them. This has been a huge wish list or whale item in my comic collecting journey. I did miss out on this omnibus the last time it was in print. And when I first heard this reprint get announced, I knew I needed to save up my money to try to rectify that. And here we are, and honestly, I couldn't be happier. Funny enough, one of the first Marvel Epic collections I ever got collected some Spider-Man issues that are also in this collection. I sold that Epic collection some time ago, so to have some of these issues back in my collection is a real treat as well. This is also an era that I have not read all of the issues included in this book, so a lot of the issues here will be brand new to me, which I frankly really enjoy. I do have some crossover here that's been collected in the pages of Spider-Man vs. Venom Omnibus, but I'm really excited to see those in context. I think a big draw to this book for me, other than filling the gap, other than getting a book with art from Erik Larsen, was honestly getting more into his just versions or visions of these characters. I really do love what he did with the character of Venom, just the big jaw, all those teeth, the huge tongue. He just added so much kind of monstrosity and almost cartoony-like proportions to Venom and even some of these other characters, and they're just hard to look away from. Another thing I love about Larsen's visual style and art style here, especially for his Spider-Man work, is how much you could see he was clearly trying to pay homage to Todd McFarlane, who came before him. Todd McFarlane obviously revolutionized the way Spider-Man artists did things, I think from that point on, frankly, and to have someone kind of fill his shoes or try to in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man, well, honestly, that was a tough bill. It was a tough act to follow, and I think Larsen really struck a perfect balance between honoring the visual style that Todd McFarlane brought to the table while really expanding the borders, pushing in his own direction, and just filling in with his own unique style. I think there is some visual continuity though between McFarlane's Spider-Man and Larsen's Spider-Man that I as a reader really like. It definitely lends a good sense of cohesion between the books. Yes, Larsen's style is still different and set apart, but there's enough familiarity that you shouldn't be too alienated if you decide to do a great read-through with the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man Omnibus with David Michelinie straight through this one. And honestly, I think that's really cool. I will not really go into a ton of plot or spoiler-heavy details in this unboxing. This is really just to give you an idea of what's included in this book, the build of the book, and kind of what some of the art looks like. Suffice it to say, we have a lot of great kind of early 90s adventures for our favorite wall crawler here. We have some explosive visuals, some of the most incredible action sequences I've seen in a Spider-Man book, honestly. Larsen's art is just so striking here, and I'm bringing him up a lot because that is a huge selling point for this book for me. I'm really excited to see the narratives that David Michelinie constructs as well. Like I said, he is one of my preferred Spider-Man writers. I really respect his tenure on the title and what he did with a lot of the primary casts of characters. I'll be frank as well, I have not read all of the issues in this omnibus as I mentioned earlier, so I'm not even going to try to speculate on the quality of what's included here just narratively, other than saying the issues I have read have been a ton of fun. I'd love to get some comments going though. Have you read all of the Michelinie Larsen era for Spider-Man? Do you have this omnibus? Have you read the issues? Let me know in the comments. What's your general feeling here? Is this a run you think more Spider-Man fans should be reading or have read already? I'd love to get some good discussions going and some inspiration just to continue to make my way through this omnibus. The only other thing I really wanted to showcase for the sake of this unboxing was some of the extras we have included in this book, and honestly, I'm blown away by the amount of extras we get. Not only the amount, but just the diversity we get. We get some great written work, we have some reproductions of original artwork, we have some covers to different collections, things like that. Honestly, it's a treasure trove of extras, and if you're a fan of Spider-Man or this era of Marvel Comics, this is a really good incentive to also pick up this book. I'm such a sucker for omnibus extras, kind of the bonuses at the back, and this one really didn't disappoint. And that is really our unboxing or quick look for this 2024 reprint for Spider-Man by David Michelinie and Erik Larsen Omnibus. If there is interest on the channel, I can try to go ahead and make a review of this book once I complete it. I will say I have a couple books in the queue ahead of this one, but if there is interest, I will try to put that higher on the priority list. But again, let me know in the comments if you're picking this up, planning to, or if you've read the issues included. Like I said, I'd love to get more feedback on this title, and let me know what you think about these unboxings I've done on the channel lately. I hadn't had any in a while, so I thought I'd go ahead and do a few. At any rate, I sincerely hope you've enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching. This has been the Comic Book Report. Please don't forget to leave your like, a comment like we talked about, and maybe share this video with a friend. Thanks everyone, and have a good one.